subscribe. You got me mad now.
Welcome back to Strong Midcard Podcast. This is your host, Frank. Sitting right here going solo again. Wanted to keep these weekly podcasts going though, man. So we want to get a little bit more consistency here. So another audio podcast. We're going to talk about, of course, AEW versus NXT Week 2. We're also going to be talking about Friday Night SmackDown and that debacle that was a draft. And a little more on the Hell in the Cell ending that, of course, that's the hot topic right now. So, let's start off with the AEW versus TNT. This week, both shows took a dip. And NXT is down in the lower 700s, I heard. But they had a solid show, a great wrestling show. However, I don't know what's going on with their next pay-per-view as far as War Games, but I didn't see anything on that show that kind of led me to it. There was really, it almost feels like they kind of, like they were just taking this one on the chin for this week and kind of reload maybe. Maybe the women's situation is a little bit more clearer. It's looking like maybe triple threat, Ripley versus Baszler versus, what's her face? Girl with the long hair. How did I forget her name already? Bianca Belair, sorry. But it looks like if, you know, from what I see, it might be a triple threat match. That way they don't have to pin Baszler for her to lose the title. So that's what it looks like logically for me. Other than that, it was a great North American title match between... I'm sorry about the other guy's name, but Roderick Strong looking good as always. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the War Games, or if maybe they're not going to have NXT War Games, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know if they already advertised it or not. But I mean, solid wrestling on the show like they always do. But as far as advancing storylines and all that, not really. At least not that I saw. Maybe I need to just watch it again. I did kind of watch it in blocks, so I should probably watch the whole thing over again. But as far as AEW goes, another solid show, better than the first week, I believe. They took a dip too, though. Lost about 20% of the viewers, still over 1 million. They had to do a simulcast on the I forgot the other channel, but they had to do two casts because of baseball. Both, I think, were affected by the baseball game. So, I mean, but that's the risky run when starting in October. October's a big baseball month, especially for the Turner channel. So, that's a risky run, but they stayed in the millions, and we'll see how next week goes. They're loading up for next week. Next week's show looks pretty big too. But let's talk about this past week's. Darby Allin becoming #1 contender. Also having the spot of the night with that skateboard spot, man. I mean, that kid's a star. You need somebody to kind of for the younger, the teenagers and people in their early 20s to gravitate towards. Darby Allin is the real deal. He's a pro skateboarder. He's an adrenaline junkie. He's got that mysterious kind of thing going for him, the kind of gothy punk rock type of deal. I mean, look at his name, Darby Allin. If I remember correctly, he named himself after Darby Crash, Gigi Allen, two guys that kind of lived fast and by their own rules, and kind of died early and young. So Darby Allin, I think he's going to be a star if they keep him in this, keep him on where they have him right now, especially with winning the #1 contendership now, taking on Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is going to make him into a star. I'm sure he'll find a way to work this match where everybody looks good. Of course, Jericho probably more than likely going to win, but I think this is more of a showcase to kind of show people that newer people are going to get a chance to become stars, and they're doing a great job of that. Jericho's going to do a great job of getting this kid over. And it's a street fight, so that's the Painmaker's coming out, as he said. So that should be interesting because the Painmaker's been out against other guys that were more his size. Now he's fighting a guy who's a little bit smaller. How's Jericho going to deal with that? So that's interesting already for next week. What else did you have this week? You had the women's tag team match to kind of further along the Britt Baker versus B. Priestley storyline. So that's getting heated. That's kind of turned into a blood feud, which is nice. But next week you got Britt Baker versus Riho. I'm guessing Bea Priestley's going to cost her that match. Excuse me, or at least the old logic that I guess we're used to as far as professional wrestling will lead you to believe that Bea Priestley would cost her that match. Now, wins and losses are very important in AEW, so we'll see how they get past that whole thing. Maybe she just makes an appearance and distracts her. I doubt that there'll be a schmoz ending, so we'll see how that goes. But I definitely see Riho coming out of that still the winner. She's very over with the crowd. She got protected this week because of that. Then you have a big match next week to showcase, I think, the two premier females in the female division. And they need another thing I took from the AEW is that the women's division needs a lot of help. You have a few names in there, notable names, but you can't keep counting on the Joshi girls to give you the better matches. You need to go out there in the independents and sign some more girls, man. I always wanted Shotzi Blackheart to get AEW's attention and get signed by them, but she just got picked up by NXT. Same thing with Zeta Zhang, who was let go by NXT, and she just got picked up by MLW. It's like, man, you guys need to jump on it. I really want to see some of these other females. I mean, some of the females that they had in the Casino Battle Royal, where are they? It's never too late to just put great talent of females in your roster. Why not? The slow build, I'm not digging that. You need to get some more names in there and girls that can work fast. You got Ivelisse, where is she? Why didn't you sign her? I don't know. It's crazy to think that. That's probably the only thing I could nitpick about AEW. That'd be that their women's division needs a little more help. You have a lot of the Joshi girls, which are great because they work fantastic. If you don't watch Joshi Pro or any of the other women's wrestling from Japan, do yourself a favor and get on that. They're all over YouTube, so you can find them on there. That's my only nitpick really for AEW. They need to build up that women's division. What else we had? We had Moxley making his first appearance singles match for the Dynamite show against Shawn Spears in a great match. A lot of brutal spots. Shawn Spears is, I don't know where you go from here, but then again, AEW, it's a whole new ball game. It's the old logic from watching years and years of WWE. We had to believe that this guy's buried and he's done with, but we need to stop thinking along those lines. I'm sure they have a lot of stuff lined up for Shawn Spears. I'm thinking mid-card title, and he can always hang around the heavyweight division or the top tier division and bounce back between those. So that's what I'm seeing for him. Moxley looking great, looking like that electricity's back in him again, man. He just looked so into what he's doing, and that's great to see because it resonates with the crowd. The crowd just loved it, loved his intensity. So that's awesome. That ending spot with him and Kenny was great. Kenny bringing out Brew Mega once again covered in barbed wire, and then only to be he got attacked from behind by Pac. So now you have those three kind of lingering around, so that should be interesting too, man. That's your top tier talent right there. Where do they go with Kenny and Jon Moxley? Who knows? And that's the great appeal of AEW, because if this was any other league, you're thinking, okay, whoever loses is going to get buried. You can't think that way here because the wins and losses thing. They can, it's a different ball game here. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're being buried. It just means that they lost to somebody, that's better than them right now. So who knows where they go, especially with the Kenny storyline. Is the crisis of confidence thing? Do they keep furthering along? Is the cleaner coming back? Is there going to be a new phase for Kenny Omega? And it's dangerous ground because you could lose what he's known for, and people are just now getting around to watching him. And he had that mystique about him from the New Japan stuff, the Ring of Honor stuff, and all the other stuff he was doing. And to kind of keep him losing like that so early on in the game, it's a dangerous territory. But we also got to kind of let him write it out, the storyline that they have for him. So we just got to be patient. That's it. But it's hard to be patient when you have probably the greatest performer right now, and he's kind of putting on these matches where they aren't up to par to what we're used to seeing from him. But I have faith that the storyline will pay off. So we'll see where that goes from there. What else do we have? AEW, the tag team match, of course, from the tag team tournament, the Young Bucks versus Private Party in a freaking classic. We witnessed the Young Bucks put over and make pretty much a tag team right there in front of you in the first 15 minutes of the show. that's how you open a show, man. That was fantastic. The Young Bucks kind of going back to their old Bullet Club days and being a little bit more vicious, a little bit more underhanded and sneaky. Loved it. That's what they needed to do to put these young kids over, and those kids got over, and they the spotlight was on them, and no nerves, man. They freaking went for it, and they performed amazingly, and the crowd loved them, and the crowd popped when they got that win. Good for them. Good on them. Who knows who's going to win this tournament now? With the way they have everything seated. I know there's a lot of a more established podcasts that thought this was the bad move for the Young Bucks to lose because they're the more seasoned name, I guess, or the most famous name out of that whole tournament. It is dangerous grounds, like we said. But this, when have we ever, as far as the elite goes and all elite wrestling now, they're not afraid to go these different routes that we're used to. They're gonna make you feel uncomfortable. They're gonna make you feel dangerous. That's what attracts me to watching this every week. So I want to see where they go from here, especially because the Young Bucks right now are kind of on that whole thing with the Inner Circle, which brings us into the Inner Circle, Jericho's new crew. Didn't really like the name, but it'll grow on me as long as they do cool stuff and then they keep being relevant and Jericho keeps being who he is. The Inner Circle, it'll TIC or however they're going to be known, will be just fine. Great group that they got together. They have the Future and the Heartthrob with Sammy Guevara. They have the roughhousing street guys with the former LAX or Santana Ortiz. And then you have the Muscle, the quiet, just stoic Muscle that is Jake Hager, but Jake Hagar, as he is now being called. Fantastic. That promo right there, man. Promo of the year. Jericho just continues to reinvent himself, make himself relevant. That's how you do it. That's how the man is 48 years old and he's still the biggest thing in wrestling right now. Like, sorry, Fiend, you lost that out this week. Jericho's the fucking man still. So, nope, probably not scripted. And that's how you do it. That's how you get the attention. That's how you shut down a crowd as well, by the way, and remind them that you're a heel. Stop cheering me so much. And then, kind of give them a little bit and then take it all back. Jericho just on the top of his game right now. So creatively. So that's fantastic. And it looks like it's going to be a power struggle for him right now. And that's cool because on both sides you have killers. You have guys that can perform. So definitely that's interesting right there. And I just spent the last 8 minutes talking about this, and I spent like 4 minutes talking about NXT. So there you go. Hopefully NXT has all the talent in the world, man. And you got to wonder how much interference there is by Vince McMahon's and the Kevin Dunn's. Triple H doesn't look like he really wanted to go to war, but he's in this war now, and it looks like this week they kind of took a step back. Maybe they're reloading. Maybe they're just gearing up. Like you said, it's a marathon, almost like bowing out. Like, okay, we tried it. We see you guys are legit. Now we're gonna go back to what we're doing, which is fantastic. That's what people want to see anyway. For me, forget the stupid war. Let's get quality from both sides and let wrestling and the wrestling fans, be better for it. And we should all that's what we should be hoping for. So. There you go. Week 3 should be interesting and great. You have some interesting matches on there, some interesting tag team matches, and more of the tag team tournament. And so I'll give you a review for that next week. Moving on, let's go right into SmackDown and the draft, or I guess if you can call it that. Was it just me, or was it just kind of like that you almost feel embarrassed to watch that, man? It's just looked like a really bad, like, did you guys ever see that? Was that movie with Kevin Costner doing the whole draft thing, the NFL and the war room and kind of the phone calls and all that stuff? It looked like a really bad version of that. You know what I mean? Yeah, Stephanie McMahon coming out and calling the picks, and none of the stars came out or nothing like that. You had a bunch of Fox analyst guys kind of just saying generic, freaking random analytical stuff that was just smelled of fakeness. And then my favorite part is they talked to Terry Bradshaw and Howie Long and a couple of those guys. Then the first thing they thought of was guys from the past. Like, what a way to say, like, we still haven't made anybody. Like, none of them even said John Cena, which is supposed to be their big guys, So, man, it was just, I don't know, very cringy. That's what I thought of it. Kofi comes out, doesn't even mention the fact that he lost his title in 7 seconds. Doesn't say, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back and get that title. Nothing like that. It's just forget it. It's over and done with. Back to the mid-card you go. You had, Brock Lesnar come out, and of course, Paul Heyman cutting the same fucking promo that he does anytime Brock Lesnar shows up. Cain Velasquez comes out to a tepid fucking nothing reaction from that Las Vegas crowd. Whew. And cuts just throws a one-liner out there in Spanish, and they had Rey Mysterio freaking translated for him. Kane speaks perfectly good English. He's American, for God's sakes. But that was just, I don't know, that was bizarre. Like, I'm really not... The only thing I'd be interested in seeing is all the botches afterwards for that crown jewel, man. And looks like that's what they're setting up. It's really hard to see where the hell the WWE's going. This is, these 2 weeks were supposed to be really huge for them. You had all year to get ready for the SmackDown stuff. I know they had great ratings last week, but I'm interested to see how it's going to go from here, man. It's going to take a big dip. Because that crown jewel, I mean, your two top matches that you're advertising for is 2 freak show matches essentially. Except Kane at least has some training, but the Tyson Fury thing, what the hell? What kind of overbooked stuff are they gonna throw there? I can't wait to see the memes. Like it just has the recipe for being a complete fucking disaster, and we'll see where they go from here. It's only their own fault. You really can't, if you're one of these defenders of the WWE, you know what I mean? How long can you keep defending this stuff? So it's almost embarrassing at this point, honestly. I actually watched it because I thought maybe they were gonna do something new, with the Fox thing and all that. And about halfway through, I'm like, okay, this is silly. The War Room reactions where people going crazy, especially the one where like, yeah, we got Natty Neidhart, and I was like, really? Okay. I mean, good on her, but I mean, come on, that's a little bit of an overreaction. So, what else happened? Bailey going heel. That was interesting. That was fun. Making kids cry, bruh, online. That's good for her. New character. We'll see where that goes. Kind of pointless to give Charlotte the title, but of course, Charlotte's blonde and she's Ric Flair's kid, so she has to have that record. They really think she's like the greatest of all time. I've never really thought that. I mean, I thought she's good. I always thought Becky was the best out of the whole bunch, and I'm glad that Becky's at least, staying on top, and she's pretty much the star. That leads me right into their picks. They're like top 10 picks were pretty much leaked online, and everything kind of went almost exactly the way that the list was online. The theoretical top 10 list, it was almost verbatim, completely the same. But Becky, top star over her boyfriend Seth Rollins. So there you go with that. So let's go and get into that, man. So I'm reading Vince McMahon's original plan was to throw Bray Wyatt off the cell. And then still have the same ending where the referee calls it. Okay, so this match has been dissected and destroyed in this whole week by everybody with the podcast. I did one when the show was over because I needed to say something. I needed to get this out of me. And I've had a week to digest, and listening to a lot of these podcasts that kind of side with the WWE in this, I still can't see it. I still don't know how you could defend this crap. Especially when they say that, don't you ever watch horror movies? Of course I do. I'm obsessed with horror movies. And when they say, this is supposed to be like a horror movie, Bray comes back at the end, blah, blah, blah. Nobody stops the violence in a horror movie. So when the ref called it, it was no longer this horror movie theme that you guys are fucking talking about. It was wrestling again, and it was shitty WWE wrestling again. Nobody jumps in and goes, okay, Freddie, that's enough. They had enough. Let's stop it. Okay, Michael Myers, stop stabbing people. They've had enough. I'm going to call it right here. The movie ends right now. So your little theory about it being a horror movie is fucking dumb because this is professional wrestling. You can have stuff that reminds you of it, but it can't be the same exact beat for beat because eventually you're going to have to break that beat, and that's exactly what they did. They brought you back down to earth and said, look, we're still WWE. We still can't have these two guys. Neither one of them can lose. So, and then what happens that you hide everybody the next day and tell them that they're injured or come up with some other bullshit. And obviously nobody believed it. You don't want to bring them out because you don't want everybody to boo them out of the building. You had Bray Wyatt come out during a dark segment after the show was over on Monday. And then you had him show up on Friday Night SmackDown to kind of do a schmoz for the first show to have that match have a shitty ending too. So, what are you doing? You had Bray Wyatt, who had the imagination of everybody, and you flattened him yet again. You know, he did it one time and he got really popular, and you guys said, no, that's not what we want. Now you go it again, and now he's on Friday Night SmackDown, so that's going to be interesting. But the damage has been done, man. It looks like it. You're going to have to pull some magic out of your fucking ass to get this guy over again as hot as he was, because you did kind of chop away a little bit at him. So, and then Seth, you kind of destroyed him, where I can only see him going back to being heel. That's how much he got damaged by this. The Hell in the Cell itself needs to be put away for a little while, like 2 years maybe, because you destroyed that too. That's pretty much where I'm at with that. I try to see it that way, through a different creative way. But now, if it was this, it's advancing the story. It's part of the story. The story's over now. One guy's on SmackDown, one guy's on Raw. They put out that flyer for the Survivor Series. They deleted it. So you people that are defending this, how do you defend that? There was no definitive end. Sorry, we move on. You know, forget about what you saw. Let's move on to the next thing. So you're going to have to forget about this whole fucking debacle. It was pointless to even have them wrestle right now. That should have been built to WrestleMania. You had a chance to rebuild Seth, rebuild him as an actual hero, you know, going straight to WrestleMania to take on Bray Wyatt, who maybe could have won a Royal Rumble or something like that, where he just destroys everybody in the Rumble and just says, I want Seth Rollins. But no, you got scared. You thought, hey, he's popular right now, let's go with him. And then, you know, when it came time to give him the title, you had cold feet, and there you go. And then we're left with that, just crap. So there you go. And that's the first WWE pay-per-view that I've watched all year, and that's what I got for it. Initially, I was laughing about it because that's just what I'm used to by now. It does irk me a little bit, but sometimes I'm just like, you know what? That's WWE now. They're almost like wanting to test how much they can piss off their audience and see how many people go away. Hopefully, they have enough creative to bring it all back, but who knows, man? They might have done too much damage. And anyways, I mean, we still got NXT, we still got AEW, we still got New Japan that's loading up for Wrestle Kingdom. That's it's almost Wrestle Kingdom season, so that should be good. Ring of Honor tonight. I know there was an event. The only thing I read from is that Angelina Love dropped the ROH Women's title, so thank God for that. I know Rush's contract's over at the end of the year, so let's see where he goes. Same thing with Marty. It's up next month. I like ROH, but AEW needs Marty Scurll, man. So hopefully that's where he'll go. And Rush, I know WWE is going to be going crazy trying to get that kid. I really hope he stays away from there. And I really hope he also goes to either, you know, All Japan, or not All Japan. Oh, fuck it. Go to All Japan. Go somewhere in Japan, or go to AEW. But we'll see what happens, man. Or even NWA. Who knows? NWA Power. Little quick on that. I actually did watch the last two episodes? Or maybe it's the first episode of NWA Power. Not digging it really, but if you're an old school guy, I can see how people could love it. I'll give it another chance, but initially I'm just like, you know, hearing Jim Cornette on the commentary, it's just kind of like, if you love Jim Cornette, that's great. I love Jim Cornette when he's telling stories. I wasn't too big on him on commentary, but I don't know, as NWA Power, I appreciate what they're doing, and Billy Corgan being able to resurrect this company is great, and it gets more people work, which is always great. So hopefully they can build up a good fan base. You know, it's like I said, it's not for me, but I'm gonna root for them anyway, because I root for every company, even you, WWE, I guess. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought about everything that went down this week. If I missed anything that I should cover the next time, thank you for listening, man. We're gonna get more videos up here. We're working on it. It's been really tough, especially with the other channel, but we're gonna keep it flowing here on the Strong Mid Card podcast and the Strong Mid Card channel. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and like, hit the notification bell, Instagrams and Twitter, and I will catch you next week. See you later.
WrestleMania was dog shit.